Hello, BookThinkers family. Now, I'm often asked the question, what is the first book I should read in the personal development space? I've read hundreds of books since 2015, and I always give the same answer. You should start out with Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why this is the perfect book to start off with. Number 1, the language and the concepts in this book are very easy to understand. If you're coming from a world where you've only been reading fiction and you want to make the jump into personal development, or you weren't reading books at all like me and you want to jump right in, I think that if you start out with a book that's very complex in both language and concepts, you're going to have a very difficult time getting through it. Part of lowering the barrier to entry for reading specifically is starting out with a book that's easy to understand. So I love this book because Robert has language that's very easy to interpret, and he has strategies that you can implement into your life that aren't very difficult to understand. So that's number 1. Number 2, this book is for everyone. This book talks a lot about the importance of financial literacy and education. And I think that that's for everyone because we're all forced to play the game of money. Now, you don't need to be materialistic or thinking about money all day long to find value in this book. If you want shelter above your head and you want food on your table, you need to exchange money for that. And in order to do so, you need to be efficient at earning money and investing money. So this is a great place to start. Robert talks a lot about how the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle class continues to struggle in debt. And that's because financial literacy and education is not taught in school, it's only taught at home. If your parents are rich, they'll teach you how to be rich. If your parents are poor, they'll teach you poor money habits. And if your parents struggle with debt in the middle class, most likely you're going to grow up thinking that that's okay too. This book is for everyone because everybody needs to learn how to manage money better. The third reason why I recommend this book is that this book was the first book a lot of very intelligent people had read. I listen to podcasts and audiobooks all the time, and authors and people up on stage at conferences who say, I started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so that's one point of credibility, but I think a lot of other people have started with this book. So knowing that it's a credible book for a lot of very successful people out there should be encouraging, and I think that that's the third reason why you should read this book. Number 4, it's the perfect length. If you were to pick up a big, large 600-page book, it's going to be a lot to get through that. This book is under 200 pages. So it's the perfect length where, okay, it's a real decent book. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but it's not too long to bore you. And it's not too long so that, you'll kind of flip through it and won't ever pick it up again. And then number 5, it's fun to read. This book is not dry and boring like a lot of other personal development content out there. Yes, it is filled with strategies that you can implement, and there are certain number frequencies like the top 5 things for this, that, and the other, but it's a lot of fun to read at the same time. You'll have a good time reading it. So for everybody starting out, you should check out Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's the first book I read. It's the first book that a lot of very other successful people have read. And I think you should start out with Rich Dad, Poor Dad as well. All right, bye.